And we want to welcome you and thank you for joining us right here on ABC 24 Weather Impact Now. I'm Chief Meteorologist Trevor Burchett, joined by meteorologist Kit Thomas and meteorologist Daniel McDonald. You know, hard to believe 3 years ago tonight, we were on the air tracking such a dangerous storm system that produced those tornadoes down in central Mississippi and even into Alabama. But here we are 3 years later, and the weather is overall very quiet for what we usually see for this time of year. Not that there are any complaints, but for now, we're going to stay in a mainly quiet and a mainly dry weather pattern. Rain chances, they are very low. Temperatures will continue to climb over the next couple of days before another cold front cools us back down as we look forward to the weekend. We've had some clouds in the area today as expected, even a couple of sprinkles earlier, but we're starting to see those clouds break up a little bit. You see them still off to the north in East Memphis, but you can also see a little bit of that golden hour glow trying to pop out on Clark Tower. Temperatures a little cooler where it's been cloudy today, places like Memphis, West Memphis in the 60s. Corinth did see a little more sunshine. They've made it up to 70 and 68 right now in Dyersburg. Radar, of course, is completely clear, but early this morning we had a little bit of some light rain activity in eastern Arkansas. Really didn't make it close to us, but there were a couple of sprinkles down in Helena, West Helena and Clarksdale. Not even enough to really measure in the rain bucket in the gauges, but there were a couple of sprinkles down in the Delta earlier today. We told you that was a possibility with that 10% chance. That's exactly what we threw it in there for. But most of us have been dry today. Had a little bit of a Clipper storm system kind of roll through here. You see some of those sprinkles earlier. It's also brought in a little bit of cloud cover, just some enhanced moisture helping those clouds to develop in the mid to upper layers. Clearing out now, though, we're starting to see some more sunshine develop, and that's going to be more of a trend as we go further into this afternoon and especially into the overnight hours, is that those clouds continue to roll out. Other than that, though, even as we zoom out, well, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Across much of the eastern United States, we've been socked under a ridge of high pressure that's kept things very quiet and pretty warm, especially in the western half of the country. Here's a look at what's going on up in the jet stream. Now, this is where the airplanes fly, and this is where, as meteorologists, we really start off the forecast because the jet stream plays such a pivotal role in what weather we're seeing. It really plays all of the role in what weather we're seeing. And what that is just an area of very fast-moving wind current, and it has some, waves up and down. We call them ridges when they're going off to the north, troughs when they dig down to the south, depending on what hemisphere you're in. Here in the northern hemisphere, though, a ridge way off to the north. You see how that jet stream's kind of got a little bump in it, and we've got this area of high pressure that's developed up underneath it. So high pressure, hot and dry. That's what's going on out west. They've actually had record high temperatures already. You look out in Phoenix, Southern California, even Denver, extreme heat out there. That ridge of high pressure slides a little bit closer to us by the end of the week. And by Thursday, we are going to be talking about record high temperatures once again, and mainly dry weather. Now, this is typically a pattern that we see in the summertime. It's hot, it's dry, the jet stream's way off to the north. We don't get a lot of storm systems, but it's unusual to see this in the middle of March. Typically, we get some dips in the jet stream, and perfect time to bring in meteorologist Kit Thomas over at the Weather Wall. He's here to explain what's happening now and what would have to happen for us to get into more of an active weather pattern. Kit?
Yeah, and just like you said, we usually need that deep trough across the U.S. to bring us the severe weather. We just really don't have that. So here's a look at that severe weather setup. We need the cold air coming in. We also need the moist and warm air coming in from the south. That collision leads to that instability. And of course, you get more of that instability if very, very cold air comes in from the far north, and you need the jet stream to drop down to do that. That'll usually lead to a surface low pressure and cold front with that as well. And when you have that change of wind direction, so out of the south here in Memphis at the surface, but out of the southwest up above, that can lead to some spiraling, overturning winds in the atmosphere. And of course, we always talk about that shear and that rolling of the winds that leads to severe weather, especially for tornadoes. But usually this is about the time that we see those dips as we're transitioning out of winter into spring. The jet stream gets more disturbed and we start to see more chance for severe weather. And really here in the Memphis area, April is the peak for both tornadoes and for large hail. We actually see a June peak for our severe wind gusts, but that's usually because we just have so many thunderstorms during that time, and you see more wind damage from just plain thunderstorms than just the tornadoes or hail in those plain thunderstorms. So the severe thunderstorms usually happen around April, but they really just haven't been because of this persistent high pressure ridge. We've got to keep our eyes out towards the Pacific because this dominating ridge is just keeping everything out of our area, keeping it very, very stable. But as we get into late March, some models are starting to show a trough forming across the northern Pacific coming into the western U.S. As that ridge begins to shift east, that brings in the opportunity for a trough to dig south and bring in some of that colder air. So maybe early April we'll start to shift into more of a severe weather pattern because we've got that jet stream starting to come towards the central U.S., maybe coming towards us. We'll have to wait to see where this actually positions itself or if this even happens because, I mean, Trevor, this is 10 days out on the model, so it could be a little bit dicey, but overall it looks like at least for the next week we're still going to be under that high and really no chance for severe weather.
Yeah, and Kit, that's something interesting, and that's such a big part of how we forecast is we can look way out along the jet stream to see when those little dips are starting to develop. And that's why we're looking at early April, really the first week or two of April. That's when we could start to see some of those troughs come in. Hard to pinpoint if there's a severe weather risk, but certainly a more active weather pattern for the first couple of weeks of April. For now, though, calm, quiet, mainly dry. We will enjoy it while we have it. Overnight tonight, a couple of clouds coming in. Temperatures drop to about 50 degrees, 53 in Memphis, 52 in Holly Springs, 51 in Dyersburg and Covington. Looks like the 40s, at least the upper 40s in Truman overnight tonight. If we do have any clouds left over in the morning, which we could, I think we will quickly see more sunshine develop by the afternoon, starting off in the 50s, but look at that, into the 80s. Once again, as we look ahead to the afternoon. Now, some sprinkles possible in the morning yet again as those clouds are starting to roll out. Rain chances are still very, very low, just like they were today. Most of us are dry again tomorrow, and then we'll see some sunshine develop through the afternoon. Very warm, though, thanks to that southerly breeze, up to 81. Thursday could be a record high, up to 85 with sunshine, and then our next front starts to come in on Friday. That could bring in a couple of sprinkles, but even then, there's just not a lot of moisture here to get those raindrops all the way down to the surface. It does look like Thursday we're going to be flirting with another record, 85 the high Thursday, previous record 86 set in 1907. So if we do get there, it would be over 100 years ago since it has been that warm on that particular date in the city of Memphis. Friday, again, that's the day to watch, but mainly because there's just not any other weather to talk about. This one measly little cold front's all we have right now, and I'm not really that impressed by it. Maybe a sprinkle as that front starts to push in, but rain chances right now on Friday, only about 20%. So the odds of you seeing any rain, certainly any rain that would be impactful, very slim. I think most of the day Friday is dry. What's interesting, though, is that front hits us and temperatures will drop through the day. So as we get into Friday evening, Friday night, temperatures are going to be going down. And you can actually see that here on your temperature profile. We start the day in the 70s, but look as we get toward 8 p.m., 10 p.m., we're down into the 50s as that cold front kind of drops those temperatures through the day. That is going to lead to a cooler weekend, but a pretty nice one. 64 with sunshine on Saturday, 73 and sunny on Sunday. So overall, rain chances, not much to talk about. Sunshine, 81 tomorrow, sunny and 85 on Thursday. Friday's that cold front day, but there's really not a ton to talk about there. Very slim chance of a sprinkle. 75 in the morning, but cooler by the evening, down into the 40s and 50s, and then a very nice weekend. Feeling more like spring than it should. You know, last weekend we had temperatures record highs. Now we're talking about where they should be for this time of year. 64 and sunny on Saturday, 73 and sunny on Sunday, and then back to near 80 early next week. Sunny for Monday and Tuesday, but maybe by the end of next week, we start to see some more storm systems roll in. So we'll keep an eye on it. Of course, we'll keep you updated right here on ABC 24. And a reminder for you, we want you to be a part of the show as well and join the ABC 24 Weather Watchers. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen, and that'll take you to the ABC 24 Weather Watchers Facebook group where you can submit photos, videos, reports. You can also see other photos that have been sent in from around the Mid-South, and you just might see your photo right here on the air. We're back with much more ABC 24 Weather Impact Now after this.